This is Nova week 6 with the long sequence. Okay, so I watched through the video before doing this now, so I already know that you fixed it. But since I'm watching it now, we'll point out that I know you got a much better tunnel sun than that. So that sets you up way behind on this. So, the this opening line. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 jumps and the tunnel. It's a long SERP line, right? So if you think of it, I never have a camera shot where you have the whole thing, but just picture the dog's line. They're doing an S. They go into the tunnel. They come out to the orange, to that blue jump. I'm not watching you. I'm just looking at the jumps, the line. So the dog's path goes tunnel to the orange jump, blue jump, and then then this other blue jump in the corner, right? That's the dog's path, where you got to jump here, jump like that. This part being the tunnel, right? So it's one giant long SERP. Whenever we have a serpentine, it's 2 side changes. We can do it with 2 fronts, 2 blinds, front and blind, front and rear, any combination, or serpentine handling, where we run straight across like this and eliminate the 2 crosses. Or you could run into there and then into here, right, and do our 2 crosses. Very similar to the drills that we did. You have opted to use serpentine handling. And I think in every instance where you attempt this in the beginning, you're always using serpentine handling, or at least attempting. And you're always behind at this orange jump, between the orange and the blue. If, just like in the drills, if you're going to use serpentine handling, then see where you're standing right now. That's where you should be when Nova comes out of the tunnel. Not now, when she comes out of the tunnel. And you should be looking through these uprights at her coming out of the tunnel. I hope that kind of makes sense. Now imagine if you were where you're standing now, watching her, and she was just coming out of the tunnel. You could then set up and show her to take this jump and do this. So you need to be like 30 feet in front of where you are when she comes out of the tunnel. If you cannot be there to do the serpentine, that's okay. We need to come up with another handling option, some other way to handle this. So the first thing you do is you do move over to here, which is good. You corrected that on your own, although I still think you could actually be further, especially if you want to use serpentine handling. And remember, we need to be way downstream when she comes out of this tunnel, so that you're looking at her over those orange. Instead, you're like about here, and you're still going to be like 20 feet behind when she comes out of the tunnel. So we need to get every step we can ahead of time downstream. So you need to still be backed up a lot further and be throwing her into the tunnel from, back there. Okay? And you kind of step in a little further. I know, because I've seen you do it. I just saw you do it with the drills. You have a better tunnel send than what you're using. See where you are right now? Like I just explained, imagine if you were about 20 feet further ahead on the landing side of orange looking at her. That's where you need to be if you're going to try and use serpentine handling through this opening sequence. So what happens if we decide we cannot use serpentine handling? So after multiple attempts, let's say that we decide we don't have that skill set we don't have the distance or the speed to be able to get way down. Well, you need to come up with a different handling option. And in this case, that's probably what I would have suggested that you try, a different handling option. And I'm guessing probably would have been, I would have suggested like a blind in between the tunnel and the jump. And then maybe rearing that blue or double blind, something like that is what I would have suggested rather than serpentine handling. So this this jump is set way off to the left. If I'm pretty call on the recall on the course map, it's these jumps are meant to be in a straight line, which would make this much easier. Instead, she takes this jump looking at you, and then that makes this very awkward and difficult. So this would be really difficult for just about anybody. The only way that you're going to have a chance to do this from this side like that is if you had a really, really strong teeter performance that you could have left her when she was on the teeter and ran sideways. So now this, I'm gonna do a second video and approach this because I think this needs some time right here.